Greetings, friends. Hi there. I'm Marc David, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. Happy almost holidays. Happy almost New Year's. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to have a conversation today about a timeless coaching tip. And that timeless coaching tip, I'm going to call it this: the truth without love isn't really the truth. So I'm going to break that down for you. I'm going to tell you why I think that's interesting and why I think it's really powerful, why I think it's useful. You know, like a lot of good ideas, we're going to take a few minutes and marinate with it and break it down and distinguish it out. And before we do that, I'm going to hang out with you all just a little as I wait for people to pop on. So while you're coming on, if you could do me this favor in the comment section below, please say hello and let me know where you're from. And if you want to push the like button or push the heart button, that makes me feel good about myself. It means people like me or love me, or at least they know how to push the button. And again, just come in, say hi, let me know where you're from, and I'll dive into the nitty-gritty in a few minutes. I am broadcasting to you here from beautiful Boulder, Colorado. It is gorgeous. It is snowy. It's like a postcard, and I am glad I'm inside the house nice and warm. And I also want to let you know, if you are interested, we have our Eating Psychology Coach Certification Training, which will be beginning. Another round starts in a few months, our winter term. And now's the time to jump in. Hello, Zainab from Toronto, Canada. And it's Arit. Glad you're here, Miss Arit. So, Eating Psychology Coach Certification, Eating Psychology Coach and Mind Body Nutrition Certification Training starts soon. 8-month online distance learning training that you could take from anywhere in the world. And in fact, what I'm going to be sharing with you today and right now is just one of the many distinctions that we talk about and train our professionals when it comes to working with weight, body image, overeating, binge eating, emotional eating, endless dieting, and all the nutrition-related health concerns that we face. Hello, Rita from San Diego. I hope I said your name right, and Tarek. So glad you're here. I am really appreciating you kind of hanging in there and following this. Ellen, thank you for coming by. And my friends, again, if you're jumping in, feel free to say hi. Let me know where you're from. Hello, Virginia from Birmingham. And hello, Susan Ricci. All right, glad you're here. So, you know, we have an interesting task in this life. It's not always easy to communicate what we want to say. It's not always easy to use words in a powerful way, in a way that gets us what we want, and in a way that helps the other person get what they want. So I'm a lover of language. I'm a student of language. And what I mean by that is language is so powerful. Words create our reality. You know this. Hello, Angela from New York City, my hometown. Hello, Miss Lindsay Boys. I'm glad you're here. And hello, Robin from Sydney, Australia. Good for you. Glad you came by. And Shari's here from good old Nashville. I so want to visit that place. So, we're here to use words in a powerful way. We're here to use words in a good way. And that takes a little thinking sometimes, and it takes a little awareness, and it takes a little training, and that's really what this conversation is about. All right, Sandra's in the current training. It's so amazing. Thank you so much for saying that. By the way, if you're an eating psychology coach, you've graduated, feel free to identify yourself, such as Mr. Kevin Levin. Where's the tree in the background? A tree grows in Brooklyn. My tree is back on the East Coast in Brooklyn somewhere. It's kind of how it looks. But you could see my office in the background, a lot of my rocks. I'm a rock collector. So we're going to be talking about a timeless coaching tip, which I'm going to name "The Truth Without Love Isn't Quite the Truth." Thank you so much for the love, Renee. I really appreciate it. Here's what I want to say. First and foremost, I would love to credit my old yoga teacher, Yogi Amrit Desai. He said this many moons ago. And Robin is an eating psychology coach. Awesome program. Thank you. I remember when Yogi Desai said this. He said, you know, the truth without love isn't quite the truth. And I didn't quite get what he said when he said it. Hello, Retha. Another rock camp. I didn't quite get what he said when he said it, but you know something? It stopped me in my tracks. It really made me think because you know this, I know this, we know this. A lot of times when the truth is spoken, even though we don't quite get it in the moment, even though we don't quite understand it in the moment, something inside of us registers truth. We have a truth-o-meter, I think, built in somewhere. Just like you have a BS meter built in there, we have a truth-o-meter. And I believe we got to trust that sometimes. Now, I'm calling this a timeless coaching tip, and I'm going to break this down. And good ideas take a few moments to kind of marinate with and break down. To me, I'm calling this a timeless coaching tip because truth by itself, what do they say? The truth shall set you free. I think that's darn true. So that's a big statement. The truth shall set us free. So the truth is unbelievably powerful. We all know love is unbelievably powerful. And the two, when you kind of mix them together in a swirl on your little ice cream cone, it's going to exponentially increase one another. So love and truth is an awesome combination. You know, a lot of times we'll say what we know is the truth, but we might say it harshly. We might say it with a sense of judgment or attack or disapproval. And then when we are coming from that place, we're speaking a truism, but if we're saying it and it's got any kind of a tinge of judgment, attack, disapproval, blame, anger, hatred, racism, sexism, whatever it is, then what we're saying ain't going to land. In fact, it's going to land as exactly what it is, which is an attack that's veiled as truth-telling. An example. You might be talking to someone who is 80 pounds overweight. And you could say to them, oh my God, you're so obese, you're out of control with food, you got no self-respect. Every time I look at you, all I see is a fat person. Well, maybe you're speaking the truth. Oh, you are so obese. Oh, you are out of control with food. Maybe it's true, maybe not. You've got no self-respect. They probably don't like themselves. Every time I look at you, all I see is a fat person. Yeah, that's kind of true. But what you've just done is you've insulted another human being, you know. So there's truth in there, but there ain't no love in there. There's no light. There's no consciousness. And it moves nobody forward. There's no inspiration in that. There's no upliftment in that. Again, I'm going to call that judgment disguised as truth. Instead, what if we say, hey, you know, wow, I know you're really struggling with your body. I know you're struggling with weight. I want you to find more peace and freedom for yourself. And I'd love to support you in any way you can, any way I can. You meet the person. You're speaking with love. You're speaking a truth, but there's no judgment. And you're letting them know that whatever you're saying is coming on the wings of love, care, acceptance. Lindsay says, totally. My friend calls my Facebook post lectures of love, which I take to be a compliment. A piece of advice when I did the coaching training changed my life. Oh, that's so sweet. You know, isn't it true that sometimes the little things that we learn can be life-changing? Virginia says, I catch myself in trouble for being open and telling the truth, but I think it's important to be truthful, but I feel held back because of it. You know, it's a choice. Being in truth is an ongoing choice. When we're speaking truth with love, in so many ways, we're clean with the universe. If you're truly speaking it with love, you're clean with the universe because the intentions were good. And we're relying on this thing called the truth and the power of it and the power of love, and we're not relying on the other person's momentary responses to us. You know, it's taken out the bite. It's taking out the judgment. So you got to scan yourself. We have to scan ourselves. So if you're a coach, if you're a practitioner, if you're a person dealing with other people, because we do this all the time, you know, like the people that are your best friends, right? The people that you love, the ones you're closest with, you know exactly what their weaknesses are, and you know exactly what to tell them if you want to cut them down. So a lot of times we could speak the truth to someone, but what we're really doing is cutting them down. Gotta clean that up, because otherwise we're insulting the truth and we're insulting love and we're disguising ourselves as helpers, but we're just really delivering poison. You don't want to do that. Hello, Kathleen. Hello, Shay from Orangeville. Yes. Shay says, I'm loving all these little videos lately. Thanks so much. I so appreciate that. You know, just because you're speaking the truth with love doesn't mean it has to be all soft and fluffy. It can be. Because, you know, sometimes people need soft and fluffy truth. Because they need to be held. And you feel that moment. Parents understand this. Hey, Kathleen. So, you know, you can also deliver truth with love, but it's a little bit of tough love. You understand tough love. Tough love's probably been given to you. You've probably given it out. Tough love could look like this. You know, hey, you really need to start taking better care of yourself with food. Otherwise, you could get sick and die before your time. You're not going to see your kids grow up. You're not going to see your grandkids. That's different from saying, oh my God, you eat garbage food. How could you be so dumb? Everybody knows junk food is bad for you. Now, if you enter the truth through the level of, okay, yeah, that's true. You eat garbage food. How could you be so dumb? Everyone knows junk food is bad. That's one way to say it. But that is not an uplifting conversation. Who's that going to move forward? You want to inspire people with the truth. You want to wake them up with the truth. You want to slap them a little bit sometimes with the truth. Like, hey, you really need to start taking better care of yourself. You know, like respect yourself more. You are better than that. I want to see you grow up, to see your kids grow up and your grandkids. When you frame it like that, people listen because you're delivering love in a way that they can understand it. Hello, Magdalena. I'm so glad you're here. And hello, Virginia. Glad you're here as well. So, you know, think of kids for a second. You know, I remember at one point, my kid was having a little trouble in school really early on when it came to reading, you know, and I didn't say to him, oh my God, son, your reading skills are terrible. You're a mess. You should be doing better at this point in your education. Okay, it's kind of true. His reading skills might have been a little bit of a mess. He should have been more advanced. But that is different than saying something like, here's the truth spoken with love in it. Wow. My son, I am so excited to help you improve your reading skills even more. Because then, if we focus on that even more and start to clean some things up and really help you out here, by the time you grow up, your reading ability is going to be so good. You're going to be so happy about yourself. Kids can hear that. So, when we infuse truth-telling with love on some level, here's another way of saying all this. On some level, the truth is heard. It might not be heard in the moment. In that moment, it might not fully land in the person, but we're planting a seed. When you and I speak the truth to someone with love, you're planting a seed that has to sprout someday. It does. You got to believe that. You got to trust that. Trek says, truth without love is destructive. Truth with love is potentially constructive. You're a poet, my friend. Good for you. We're planting a seed. Have you ever had the experience in your life where somebody said a truth to you? A truth was spoken, and it was like a seed, and it sprouted later on. It didn't impact you that day or that week or that month or that year. At some point, it showed up in your life and you remembered what that person said and somehow it started coming into action. You know, I've had so many times where clients or former clients, I've had former clients reach out to me years and years later, long after they were my client, and said, you know something, you said something to me that at the time I didn't quite understand it, but now it's totally changed my life. And I think, isn't that great? I have no idea what I said, by the way. They have to remind me. I didn't even remember saying it. Doesn't matter. Because I'm on it when I'm with a client. And I do my best to be on it when I'm with friends, loved ones, anyone. How do I speak the truth with love so it lands? And so it's good, and so it's interesting, and so it's juicy. Wynn says, I love the seed analogy. Let's all be modern day Johnny, or is it Joni Appleseed? Good for you. Yet another creative human here. You know, it's so true because love is like a seed. I want to give you an example. I thought of this today, and it was a very sweet and poignant memory. You know, some of you who know me or have heard me speak know that I grew up and came into this world as a stutterer. From the time I could first speak, I couldn't. I stuttered every word like 9, 10, 11 times up until about the age of 12 or 13. This was back in the late 50s, early 60s, so nobody knew what to do with me. And I and I was considered, people are putting little sad faces, and everybody thought I was retarded. So they treated me as such. I knew I was smart. I knew I was okay. I just couldn't talk. And nobody could figure out, no amount of doctors and specialists. So check this out. 3rd grade. My 3rd grade teacher wrote notes to my parents on my report card. They left the report card lying around, and I happened to see the report card. And the report card said something like this, and this is the teacher's words. She said, I know that your son Mark is struggling, but I know there's a genius in there somewhere, and I'm still trying to find a way to spark that genius and set him free. And I'm reading this, I'm a 3rd grade. I don't know how old I am in 3rd grade. It's probably pretty young. And I'm like, this is the first person who's not looking at me like I'm dumb. This is the first person who said, oh, there's a genius in there. Oh, there's something in there. And when I saw that, I thought, now I could look back on it. I felt the truth in that. And for sure, I felt the love in that. And that accidental reading that I got to see on that little report card gave me wind under my wings. So I knew from that moment on, wait a second, somebody sees that I'm good. Somebody sees that I'm smart. And the world out there is trying to help me. So if I keep helping myself, I'm going to get there. That was huge for me. So that that changed my life. And honestly, we have that power. We have that power to impact people by what we say. And oftentimes you and I never know the effect of how what we say when we speak a truth with love. We never know how that's going to land, when it's going to take hold. You know, Taryn says sometimes all it takes is for someone to believe in us. That's so true. Sandra, thanks for the kind words. Tracy says food seems to be such a touchy subject with people. How do you talk about healthy eating and destructive food, especially in children, without hurting feelings? Woo, that's a big question. That's a whole other Facebook Live conversation. Tracy, I love that question. You know, it's what we talk about in our training. I want to stay here for now. Shay says, my brother is a heavy stutterer. He's been to countless therapies and specialists. He still struggles, but has gotten so much better now that he's taken control of his own story. Good for him. You know, stuttering can be cured. It can be healed. I know that. I've done it. I was the worst. So here's what I want to say. You have a superpower. We have a superpower. And that superpower is speaking truth with love to our clients, our friends, our family, our loved ones. It could be anyone on the street. Sometimes it's just the compliment that you give them where you acknowledge them. You might be the first person who've acknowledged them in years. We never quite know. You know, I'll give you another example. And you know, we talk about this in our training. I'm always looking to see how my client hears. You do the same. We all do the same. When we're talking, we have a sense of who we're talking to. So in other words, if you're talking to your mother, chances are you're going to talk to that person different than your best friend, different than your workout buddy, different than a business partner. Tracy says it's amazing what compliments do. So true. You know, I'm going to talk to men oftentimes different than I talk to women. I'm going to talk to an East Coast man from New York City different than a man of the same age from San Diego. Whew, so different. Um, I've had so many male clients over the years. I'm thinking one in particular who came to see me. You know, he had just kind of let his body go, and he was overeating, he was binge eating, he was gaining weight. He just was toxic. And he had just really abandoned his physiology. And he's coming to see me, and he said to me, I need you to motivate me. I love when people say that because I'm going to correct it so quickly because I don't motivate people when it comes to health, when it comes to anything. Because think about this. A lot of times, and I'm just kind of splitting hairs here, but oftentimes, not always, oftentimes we use the word motivation to mean, you know, people say, yeah, I'm highly motivated. Oftentimes highly motivated means I'm highly stressed. I push myself too much. I'm forcing. I'm just running myself into the ground. I'm highly motivated. And then when somebody says, well, I need you to motivate me, really? No, you don't need me to motivate you. You need me to help you find your inspiration. Motivation is short-lived. Inspiration can last a lifetime. You know, I started out, I was mentioning my rocks in the office here, like I've been collecting rocks since I've been a little kid. They inspire me. Ever since my first rock, I got to show you this. Could you believe I have the first rock I ever found that got me into rock collecting? I was a kid in Brooklyn. We had these junkyards where all the sanitation department came and dumped all the trash into these, you know, acres and acres and acres long, you know, ditches in the ground. So the kids used to play in those ditches because there was all kinds of cool stuff. And I see this little white rock sticking up out of the ground, and for some reason I decided to unearth this rock. And here's what I found. So it was the white part sticking up, and underneath was brown. And I was like, what, 5 years old, 6 years old? And I remember realizing, I thought to myself, wow, the bottom is brown, the top is white, and you could see it was just the white part that was sticking up, and the brown part got colored by the red soil that it was in. And it was my first scientific observation. I got so inspired. I've kept this rock for like 100 years. So what I'm saying is inspiration lasts a lifetime. So back to this male client I was talking about. So here he is, he's trashing his body, he's abandoned his body. So I want to inspire him, I don't want to motivate him. So I said, listen, you know, here goes. If you want to be around for your family, if you want to be present for your kids and be a good example for them, you have to reclaim your body, because you know what? Your kids are modeling after you. And they're seeing what you're doing. They see you leaving yourself. They see you not taking care of yourself. So all I'm saying is I don't even know if I could motivate you, because you is not enough to motivate you. You need a little bit more to motivate you. So the best thing I could think of is your 3 kids, because you said you care about them. So if you really care about your kids, you're going to set an example for them. Otherwise, in my experience, our kids have to kind of finish out our unfinished business sometimes. They might pick up on your bad habits. So I'm not even saying do this for you, because I know you've let your body go. I'm saying do it for something bigger. Do it for your family. Do it for your children. Poof. That does it so many times. And this was a man, this was an East Coast guy that I can say that sort of thing to. It was the truth spoken with love in a way that he could receive it. Kimberly, thank you for the love. Emily says, you know, thanks for always sharing all your knowledge. There's so many people who need help improving their relationship with food, with practice. I hope someday I can become as good as you are. I hope you become better than me. Quite honestly, like way better, for sure. So my friends, here's another way to look at this. We're often afraid to speak the truth for fear that we're not going to be liked. You know, oh my God, if I say the truth, people are going to be angry at me. If I speak the truth, I might lose my client. Whew, I better hold back from saying that. And, you know, these are understandable fears. But again, what I want to say is if you come from love And if you doing the speaking, if you value your loving intentions, you have to create value from within. You have to create trust from within. It's a practice. It's a practice. Yeah, I have a fear of losing my client, but my desire to help my client is bigger than my fear of losing my client. So I'm putting love and truth and service first before my fears. Do I have my fears? Absolutely. But they come second. I'm clear about that. So yeah, I don't want to piss someone off, but the truth is, if I'm valuing the truth and if I'm speaking it with love, I'm going to feel more empowered to speak. And you know something? It's also kind of the persona that you adopt when you're speaking. So, you know, when I'm speaking to my son, I'm often speaking like a father. But sometimes I'll speak to him as a friend. You know, sometimes I will speak to him like I'm his teacher because he needs to learn some stuff. And I just get in teacher mode. You know, same with our clients. We put on different hats. Sometimes I'm a good parent to my client. Sometimes I'm going to just step into mother or father role in that moment with a client because that's what the moment is calling for. So you can speak love and truth in a very brotherly or sisterly way. You can speak it in a very tough love kind of way, like a good tough friend would do. You could do it in a parental way. You could do it like a coach would do it. However, whatever the moment calls for. Thanks for all the love, Magdalena. I really appreciate it. I'm just reading some of the comments below. You know, it's speaking the truth with love is a practice. It's a commitment. It's a guideline. It's a commandment to live your life by, if one chooses. And for sure, I'm going to tell you, it's one of the techniques, the tools, the awarenesses, the distinctions, I'm using all those words interchangeably, that have really helped me as a person and as a practitioner. Because again, I want to say, I think that in all the helping professionals, especially in the universe, when it comes to our relationship with food, when it comes to self-development, when it comes to eating challenges, when it comes to body image and weight and looks, you know, we can be in so much pain and so much suffering. And we need more love in the system. We really do. It's as simple as that. So it doesn't mean everything is soft and creamy and fluffy and non-intellectual. No, you could be super intellectual with love. You can be super directive with love. We often check love at the door because we've been taught it doesn't belong, you know, in a coaching, counseling, healing, you know, professional client relationship. Like, really? Like, love belongs everywhere, wherever it belongs. Miss Sydney Peterson, glad you're here. She says, I love this reminder, much needed as a coach. Diane, thanks for the love as well. You know, that's a good point. We need to remind each other. And in a lot of ways, that's what this is. That's also why I value, personally, I value community. I value connection. I value my friends, my teachers and mentors who remind me. Because we need to be reminded, you know, we forget. And we get caught up in life. And we live in a challenging world that sucks a lot of the truth out of us and sucks a lot of the love at us. So we got to come right back at the world with the goodness that we know works. So the truth, speak it with love. Notice it. Especially practice it with the people closest to you. And see what happens. If you're seeing clients, practice that with them and notice what happens. Feel free to take some risks. Feel free to experiment a little bit. Are we going to always be perfect at this stuff? No, absolutely not. We're practicing. We're learning on the job. Julie says, speaking each other's love language helps too. Oh, so true. You know, we all have a different way that we register love. Love languages is often about, you know, some people experience love through touch. Some people experience it through getting gifts, through words of affirmation, through acts of service. There's another one in there. I'm forgetting it in this moment right now. But yeah, you know, notice what helps your client hear the truth. Diane says, hope I can be as successful as you. Love your work. Oh, that's so sweet. You know, Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he said something many moons ago when I was first starting out, when his work was extremely popular, that had a huge impact on me. He said that inner success precedes outer success. So in other words, you want outer success? We first got to be successful in here. Like really. Are there people who get outer success before they truly have inner success? Absolutely. Don't be like them. Don't wish to be like them. That's kind of life doing its thing with them. Everybody has their own unique journey, for sure. So you have to measure it out. Don't wait to win the lottery when it comes to success. And I know you guys are not trying to do this. I'm just saying it. It's what's inner success anyway? You know, it's a great question. It's, you know, in part, it's the feeling of when you do have a success, small as it is, you got to celebrate it. You got to notice it. You have to acknowledge it. A success with yourself, your loved one, your client, in anything that you do. Success is cumulative. It doesn't happen overnight. Everybody thinks success equals I win the lottery. Oh, come on. That's an awful model of success. It is terrible. And it's, you know, everybody, oh, the big lotto prize. Like, no, it's a bunch of nonsense. Success happens moment by moment, step by step by step. So it means making choices that feel like the right next step. And when you get a good response from the world about the move you made, the client you saw, the risk you took, and you see a success no matter how small, you notice it and you breathe it in. Because a lot of people are shooting for this high level of success. Success means I make all this money and I have all these things, and then we keep looking for that measure, but it takes steps to get there, as far as I can tell. So my friends, once again, what I would love to say, wait, Courtney says, we're emotional beings. I don't think it would be possible for me to just switch that off in a professional setting. So true. I bring all of me into a session. Now, for sure, I'm watching, I'm looking, I'm listening. I'm bringing all of me, but I'm also assessing which parts of me are best expressed in this moment, will best serve the moment. If I need to be emotional in that moment, I will. If I need to I get angry at clients, but there's love in it, okay? I might get angry. I might get all happy. I might be all celebratory with them. I might be just very questioning. It's whatever. So I think in the coaching universe, we have to remember that we are not looking down on people. This is an equal relationship. And yes, we have the power because they're paying us. We're the mentor, the coach, the cheerleader in that moment. But we realize that we're working with equals. And it levels the playing field and it creates possibility because it's then asking the other person to be an equal. It's asking them to step up. Because that's what so many people need. We need, you need, I need, all of us need. We need to resource ourselves. You know, it's not looking for somebody else to fix us. It's getting the support and the help and the love from the universe that then helps me grow, that helps that seed sprout. So, sometimes we don't see our own little successes. We should appreciate it. This every step you're saying, to love others, we need to love ourselves first. Oh, so true. And I would have said your name, but I don't want to mess it up. But it looks like you might be Eastern European, which is where my relatives come from. So, my friends, I want to wrap up. I really appreciate you hanging in there. I really appreciate you being part of this conversation. Again, I would love to remind you that we have at the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, we're starting Another eating psychology and mind-body nutrition certification training begins in a few months this winter. We are enrolling now. We already have lots of great people from around the world. I am so thrilled. I feel very, very, very lucky, very fortunate. It's a beautiful body of work. And if you want to learn more, you can email us at info@psychologyofeating.com. We'll set you up. We'll answer your questions. You can have a phone call with one of our people. And I'd love for you to learn more, especially if you're interested. And if you know somebody who can benefit from this conversation, feel free to share this. If you or anyone else likes our fan page that you're on right now, then you'll get notifications when we're going to be hopping on. And I so appreciate you. I'm going to be doing these a couple of times a week. Sydney says, great program. Do it if you can. Thanks so much. Sydney's a graduate of our training. She's an eating psychology coach. And Danielle says, do it, guys. I love that. That's so sweet. So, my friends, you take care. Have beautiful holidays if I don't see you before then. And lots of love. Take care.